What is up, guys? I'm Neville, and today I'm going to be talking about Hassan Whiteside possibly being traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, as there's been a lot of trade rumors about Hassan Whiteside going to the Milwaukee Bucks. There's been no trade packages thrown out, and there hasn't been like very intense talks, but there has been a lot of rumors. There were rumors about him going to the Bulls or somewhere, but that's been shut down completely. But now there's a new team involved, and that is the Bucks. So I'm going to be getting into the trade package, why it makes sense for both teams, and pretty much who I think would win the trade at the end. So without further ado, without running on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so first things first, let's get into the trade package. So what I think the trade package would look like, in my personal opinion, is that the Miami Heatles would get Jabari Parker, John Henson, and then the 2020 second round pick from, I think, Detroit. I'm not sure though, don't quote me on that. And then also the Milwaukee Bucks would get obviously Hassan Whiteside and Jordan Mickey. And so yeah, now that I got the trade package out of the way, let's get into why it makes sense for both teams. So the first I'm going to get into is, well, the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat, they're already a team who's ranked in the top 10 in defense this year, and if they would be able to get a player that was in the top 30 in defensive ratings last year, like this team was in top 30 of the entire NBA, so like top 30, I might be like, that's not good, but I mean, when you take the entire NBA and every player in the NBA to rank top 30, that is really, really good. And he also averaged 1 steal per game, so he's obviously extremely active on defense, can get a steal and maybe even a clutch steal, and he can also get blocks, rebound. He's very good at that. And then speaking of rebounds, the Miami Heat are ranked 19th worst in rebounds per game, and Jabari Parker, who averages 6.2 rebounds per game, will help them tremendously. Yeah, they're losing Hassan Whiteside, which would hurt a ton, but I mean, Jabari Parker still averages 6.2 rebounds per game, and that would help him a ton. And he's probably more active on the boards. Like Hassan Whiteside can get boards easier and gets more boards because of it, but Jabari Parker attacks the boards more. Like, you know what I mean? He's just more aggressive to go get his rebounds. And also, they don't have much power forward presence as of right now, but if they did this trade, they would go from their starting power forward to being Kelly Olynyk, who averages 10.9 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, and 0.4 blocks per game, to Jabari Parker, who last year averaged 20 points per game, 1 block per game, and 1 steal per game. That would be an incredibly huge upgrade for them. I mean, Kelly Olynyk would be a great backup, so I mean, that would even make it even better. I mean, you'd have Jabari Parker starting, and then Kelly Olynyk, who I think maybe started last year on the Celtics. He was very productive as a backup, and I mean, I think he can be very productive as a backup this year, and I think if they did this, it would help them tremendously. And also, I mean, right now, the Miami Heat is ranked 20th in points per game, but this year alone, right now, they're ranked 27th worst, even worse. They're ranked 27th worst in points per game, and last year, Jabari Parker had averaged 20 points per game, and that is the 5th best in every power forward out of the entire league. He scored the 5th most with 20 points per game, 20.4 if you want to be exact. So I mean, that will help them a ton out scoring wise, and I mean, they really need it. And then also Henson would add depth to that center position that they'd be losing Whiteside, and obviously they'd get that second round pick. You never know what that's going to turn into. They could either use it in a trade, or maybe they could even somehow find a young good player, young role player. You never know. You never know with the draft. It's just pure luck when you get to that round. But now that I got it out of the way why it makes sense for the Heat, let's get into why it makes sense for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks right now are ranked dead last in rebounds per game. Dead last. That is terrible. If they're able to get Whiteside, who, by the way, led the leagues in rebounds per game, I think averaging like 15 rebounds per game last year, probably even more. I mean, he led the entire league in offensive and defensive rebounds, so the dude is an absolute beast on the boards. And I mean, also Jabari Parker is coming back from an injury, a torn ACL. He's been out all year, so I mean, he's going to be rusty. They're going to have to learn how to play with him. And I mean, you never really know. I'm sure he'll go back to his old self, because he's not like, he doesn't really like rely on speed all that much, being a big guy, but I mean, you never know. I mean, with torn ACLs, you never know. Some people just recover easily, and then other people, they can't ever recover. So I think trading him would actually make sense and take that risk factor out. And I mean, tons of teams would still want him. And also, I mean, yes, losing Jabari Parker, that's going to hurt. I mean, he's a really, really good player and probably a future all-star. But when you look who is starting in his position right now, Giannis, the Greek Freak, I'm not even trying to say his last name, the Greek Freak, he's a potential MVP candidate or a potential MVP player. In the beginning of the year, he was favored to win the MVP. I mean, this dude was a beast. He still is a beast. And I mean, really, Jabari Parker would be a good backup coming off the bench, or maybe they'd start 2 power forwards. You never know. But I mean, yeah, I just don't know how it would go. And also, they've been playing extremely well without him. I mean, ever since they fired Jason Kidd, they've been on a pretty good winning streak, and I mean, they're improving their record. So maybe like Jabari Parker wouldn't fit in with the new scheme. You never know. I mean, all that would play into a factor. But also, this would give them the most complete team in the NBA, in my opinion. Not the best team, not the best starters by any means, the most complete team. Because just listen to what they would have. This would give them, at the center position, Hassan Whiteside, a top 10 center by far, averages 1.7 blocks per game, grabs rebounds, and like I think he's averaging 11 points. He's averaging a double-double right now. Then you would go to power forward, and you have an MVP candidate this year, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I said his name right that time. Let's go. And I mean, the dude's a beast in everything. He can play defense, everything. He's just a great player. Then at small forward, you have Malcolm Brogdon, who is averaging 20.4 points per game, and he was last year's Rookie of the Year. He is a beast. And then at shooting guard, you have what's his face? Chris Middleton, who is like he improved his scoring by 3 points per game, and he also improved his rebounding by 1. I mean, he's just improving, and he's extremely young. That's another thing. This team will be extremely young, and I think once they can just stay together and they gel, they would make this team so much better, and they will be a finals contender in 2 to 3 years if they stay together. And also, I don't even sleep on the point guard, Eric Bledsoe, a top 15 point guard in this league for sure, maybe top 10, you could make the argument. And this dude is just entering his prime. He's 28 years old. He just turned 28. He's averaging 16.9 points per game, 4.2 assists per game, 2.2 steals per game, and 3.7 rebounds per game. This dude's a beast on defense. 2.2 steals per game. That's almost leading the league. That dude's an absolute beast on defense. And also, they will have a very young and high potential bench. This team will be so young. If they can just keep that young core and gel, I think they could definitely be a finals contender one day. I mean, just look at their bench. They have a rookie, Sterling Brown. They also have I think, second or third year player, Thon Maker. And then Tony Snell, he's 26. You don't really know. I mean, he could develop into be a nice role player, but I mean, I just don't know about that. But I mean, still, I mean, Sterling Brown and Thon Maker, a lot of people think he's going to be a top center in the league one day. And I mean, you never know with a rookie. Sterling Brown, he's a second round pick, but he's been playing really good for a second round pick. He's only averaging like 16 minutes a game, so you can't really judge him off of that. And then obviously, they're led by the veteran Matthew Dellavedova, and he's not a slouch either. He would start on some teams at point guard, and he can play defense, as we know from the finals. He's an absolute beast on defense, and he just works hard. So I do think that this team would overall improve greatly from this. So now let's get into who I think would win this. I do think the Bucks would win, only because how close the Bucks are to winning, like being able to contend for that finals. I think they will make the playoffs this year, that's without a doubt. But I do think if they made this trade, they could contend for a finals. I mean, you have every position, and then on the bench, you have a nice bench to come in and give them rest. So it's not like you have to rely completely on your starters. I mean, you just never know. I do think if this would have happened, since they're also young, Hassan Whiteside, he's definitely under the age of 28, I'm pretty sure. Then you have Malcolm Brogdon, who's a rookie. Chris Middleton, I think is second or third year. Giannis is young. Matthew Dellavedova isn't young, but Sterling Brown, Thon Maker, and even Tony Snell are all very young players. So if they can all just stay together, mesh, build that chemistry, I think they will be able to contend for finals. But don't get me wrong, the Miami Heat do improve from this. I mean, they get a very young player, Jabari Parker, more explosive. Then you compare that with Goran Dragic, can get him the ball, and it's not like they will be completely losing out on center. They'll still be getting John Henson to backup whoever their backup center is right now. So it's not like they're losing that much depth, and they're probably still going to make the playoffs. They're a third seed right now. That's the only reason I don't see him. Like, I do see this trade happening. I also don't, because like, since they're doing so well, I don't know if Miami Heat will want to make a trade. But since they're not going to be able to contend for finals, I don't think they're going to. I think they might want to make a trade. So yeah, comment that below. Do you think Miami Heat should make this trade? Do you think the trade package should change? Do you think this is a good trade package? Comment all that below. And if you did like the video on 8.8 like button, it would mean the world to me. And also, if you really like the video, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. That would mean so much to me. Y'all have been blessing my life. We're at 140 subscribers. I uploaded a video today. It's already at 158 views. I love y'all so much. I'm blessed here. You know, I gotta give a shout out to the real homie up G upstairs. God bless. You know, G1GB in the words of iMaverick. But anyway, kids, I'll be better either. Never do vegetables. Always eat drugs. Stay safe. Goodbye.